your kids trick or treat as costume and candy makers scale back production. And sent home, the Indians take action after a player sneaks out to hang with friends. What Zach Plezak says about his decision. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is, and hello again, Northeast Ohio. Thank you so much for choosing What's New. I hope everyone had a terrific weekend, and your week is off to a good start. Alongside Romney Smith, who's in for Betsy, I'm Jay Crawford. Romney, a very good Monday afternoon to you.
Very good to be here with you, Jay. It's always fun and becoming more normal. So, of course, today we have to start with some really big news. We love our sports, and now we're learning that some college athletes might miss out on their season.
Yeah, there's still a lot of gray room. Gray area, Romney, in this story, but if the Detroit Free Press is right with their reporting, the Big Ten is ready to cancel the 2020 football season as well as all fall sports. Late this afternoon, President Trump reacted to the report in a few tweets. He retweeted Clemson star quarterback Trevor Lawrence's tweet that has really been making the rounds as he made his case for a season. The president adding the student athletes have been working too hard for their season to be canceled. The other tweet says, play college football. Now, the cancellation, if it ends up happening, will be controversial to say the least. Our Jim Donovan joins us now with more on this report. Hello, Jimmy. This felt like the shoe that we were all waiting to drop.
Yeah, you're right about that, Jay, and it's good to be with you. It's a sad day if this report is true, and it will be a sadder day tomorrow if this becomes official. But it all started really over the weekend, and it started with the MAC, the Mid-American Conference, canceling fall sports. That happened on Saturday, and then there were a host of what we're learning to be emergency meetings of conference presidents of universities that are members of certain conferences, and the Big Ten being the one that we are zoned in. This morning, reports came out, as you mentioned, from the Detroit Free Press and from the Dan Patrick Show, and Dan Patrick himself saying that in an emergency meeting of the university presidents of the Big Ten, the vote to cancel fall sports and college football, their college football season, the vote was 12-2 to cancel fall sports and football. The two universities that wanted to play, surprisingly, not Ohio State and Michigan. Instead, Nebraska and Iowa, they were all in. They wanted to play. Now, it was said then that the Big Ten would make this official starting tomorrow. But within the last couple of hours, the Big Ten has come out in the middle of the afternoon and said, we have not come to a final conclusion on this yet. And this, a lot of pushback from players and coaches. Ryan Day, the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, being one of them, saying the fight is not over yet. And the fight obviously is to play. Ohio State's been playing football since 1890, Jay, and they've never missed a season. And they're on the doorstep of having that happen if this announcement is true and if it becomes official tomorrow. It will be interesting to see if the Big Ten decides to push the season to the spring, because Kevin Warren, the first-year commissioner of the Big Ten, is said to liken the fact that spring football, with coronavirus being so hot right now, he would like to push the football season to the spring. We'll wait to see if that happens. Other Power 5 conferences, where do they stand? Well, the Pac-12 is said to be in step with the Big Ten, and they could announce a cancellation of fall sports and football along with the Big Ten tomorrow. The ACC and the Big 12, they're kind of on the fence what they want to do. The SEC is adamant they still want to play, and they're looking for other teams who maybe have cancellations of their year to follow suit and come and join them along with the SEC schools to create some kind of super conference, because the SEC has so much guaranteed TV money that they would be giving up. Jay, this is astronomical, the losses for the Big Ten and Ohio State. Ohio State, just off the top of my head, would lose $50.5 million in ticket revenue, $34 million for football media rights, and that only scratches the surface of the TV money they get overall with their share kicking in on the Big Ten. That's where we sit right now as we go on and wait for formal announcements of this coming up maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, one theory that's being floated around out there by some of my media friends that cover college football on a national basis, and Jimmy, this is fascinating. They wanted to kind of throw a trial balloon out there to see how news of a cancellation might be received by fans and by media. That might be the hang-up between a vote that's already been taken, which the Big Ten denies, and what we think is going to happen at 6 o'clock when we again have this Zoom meeting with all the university presidents to see what actually will happen. It's all fascinating, and one thing that you touched on that I love is the idea, and Nebraska's already said, we're going to play football somewhere. So if the SEC is inviting all these other universities from the other Power Fives to come to the SEC for a year to play there, Jimmy, can you imagine how fascinating that would be and how much fun that would be for fans if we get there?
Looking forward to next year. We hope
that would be a super league, I think we would call that. We have super teams in the NBA. Now we'd have a super league. The other thing to watch out for, Jay, if the college football season really gets canceled, across the landscape, watch for the NFL to jump in. Watch for the NFL to jump in and take some of their scheduled games on Sundays and move them to Saturdays.
Absolutely.
Because those televising networks that have the NFL contract would say, we need some content, we need some production value, we need some games. And the NFL is saying, you know what, we'll take 3 games and put them off our Sunday schedule and push them into Saturdays to give people football to watch. That's something to look out for.
Yeah, not only would it fill the Saturday void, but to your point about a potential season in the spring, can you imagine, Jimmy, if we did have an NCAA college football season in the spring, we would essentially have football from September all the way through to March and perhaps into April. I think that could be a huge win for the football fan as well. Jimmy, thank you. Great information. We'll see you at 6. Now, coming up in just a little bit, how is the virus impacting the age group of college athletes? There are some very interesting numbers there, and we will share them with you in just a little bit. Right now, onto your feet at 5, and our daily snapshot of the coronavirus figures show that all 4 major indicators are well below our 21-day rolling averages. The state reporting 883 new cases, and while that is up just 4 cases from yesterday, it is a 50% decrease from our number on July 30th, and about 350 cases below our 3-week daily average. Our other numbers, the positivity rate, it's been hovering right around the WHO's recommended threshold of 5% now for more than a week. Hospitalizations remain under 1,000 for a 5th straight day, and the state reporting 4 new deaths after just 1 death reported yesterday. Both of those numbers well below our 3-week average of 21 daily deaths. Romney?
Jay, as schools continue to navigate the safest way for their students to go back to class, one local health department is offering a detailed plan with their advice. Summit County Health recommends, if possible, schools start remotely for the safety of students, teachers, and the community. Their health department says because there are still pops and cases, like you just mentioned, they want schools to adjust if possible. Local superintendents in Summit County are starting remotely, and they told 3 News they're working to make sure that their first quarter is
free
as safe as
trade
possible.
to get their coffee beans from Guatemala, but they've learned their growers in rural parts of the country are struggling to put food on the table, and protection from COVID-19 is not available. So now they're offering a subscription to their coffee if you donate to the cause this month.
A few weeks, after 9 weeks, I think we need to continue to take a look at this going forward.
Keep in mind, these are just guidelines, not mandates. In fact, there are some schools in Summit County that are starting with a hybrid plan and others with an in-person education plan with, of course, some significant changes to the school for safety. Tonight at 6 on What Matters Most, we'll go deeper into why the health department says remote learning isn't a one-size-fits-all model for learning remotely. And as schools try to figure out what's next, a new report shows that there's a huge surge in COVID-19 cases among kids nationwide.
And the coffee subscription, along with your donation, supports
about 8,000 are 19 years old or under. 3 News senior health correspondent Monica Robbins is here with more. Monica, bottom line, should parents be overly concerned for their kids because of this?
Well, yeah, they do need to be concerned because we know kids can get COVID. And what is concerning is of the near 350,000 kids diagnosed with it nationwide, about a third of those cases were just diagnosed in the last 3 weeks. So as kids head back to school, so does cold and flu season, and COVID symptoms mimic many of the other normal respiratory illnesses out there. So it may be more difficult to distinguish, and kids may be required to do remote learning, but many are still hanging out with one another unprotected, and kids should be following the same protocols in place for adults regarding masks and social distancing.
The Medina County Fair, not always the same this year as it has been in previous years, of course, because of many of the changes we've seen surrounding COVID-19. Will Ewick has details of how it's still trying to keep it a
there is
special
more danger of
experience
spread because they're going about their normal day and potentially spreading it to a much bigger degree.
And then also not
another word for spreading,
kids
Monica, is transmission. We've talked a lot about that. Can you talk to me about the difference between kids spreading it and adults spreading it?
Fair for 10 years. It's become an important
Well, look at
part
it this
of her
way,
life.
Romney. Pretty much any infected human being can spread this disease. What's concerning with kids is that their symptoms, again, may be milder or even unnoticeable, which makes it easier for them to spread disease. So Commissioner Scota recommends parents talking to their kids about those symptoms because the list of symptoms, it's the same as adults. And if your child is exhibiting a symptom, that's when you want to limit their exposure to others, especially anybody who could be at higher risk.
Good to know. So bottom line, they can spread it and they can get it. Thanks, Monica.
Invitation only, allowing exhibitors along with just
All right, let's check in right now with Russ Mitchell. He is here to give us some headlines that are making news right now at 5:10 on this Monday afternoon. Hello, Russ.
Happy Monday, Jay.
And to you.
And good afternoon, everybody. Today, Governor DeWine accepted a White House plan that would give those on unemployment an extra $300 a week, but the state will not kick in another $100 payment. The state had the option of adding that extra money, but the governor's office says that would have required a longer review process and consulting with state lawmakers. Those who have been out of work say losing that $600 federal supplement of the last plan will hurt.
Where they're hoping the fair looks a little more like the one that those here in Medina County have come to know and love over its long tradition.
We're looking forward to next year. We hope we're out from under this COVID-19 umbrella. So we're gonna celebrate our 175th. We may call it the 175th plus.
The new federal benefit may not kick in until later this month. Former Vice President Joe Biden is expected to choose a running mate sometime this week. A source close to the process says Senator Kamala Harris and former National Security Advisor Susan Rice are the leading candidates, as well as Senators Elizabeth Warren and Tammy Duckworth. And in Chicago, more than 100 were arrested after a night of looting and violence. This began with a police shooting that led to caravans of vehicles driving through the city, damaging and looting. Mayor Lori Lightfoot promises a heavy police presence until further notice. And that is all for 5J. We'll see you later on.
All right, Russ, we'll see you in the next half hour. Let's go to our question of the day now. We want to know if you plan to let your child go trick-or-treating this Halloween. Many parents are giving that a whole lot of thought. You can vote now. Go to WKYC.com/vote now to weigh in. Last year, consumers spent about $9 billion with the B dollars on Halloween. This year, it's anyone's guess how much they'll spend. But candy makers already have told Wall Street Journal that they plan to make less Halloween-themed products because they don't want to get stuck with a bunch of leftovers. And I know right now, looking at the vote, I know it seems like it's early. We just threw it up there, but 70% of parents saying no, Romney, they will not let their kids go out for trick-or-treat this year. I'm actually surprised that number isn't higher, to be honest with you.
You know what, it doesn't surprise me at all because although kids want to go out, have fun, socialize, and get candy, they could also catch coronavirus. So I completely understand why it's majority of parents saying no, and I think it will go higher as we get closer to that holiday.
They can. It's very interesting. I know you were just talking with Monica about the numbers. The state reporting that there are around 8,000 positive cases of coronavirus for people under 19 years old. That number has also been growing as the weeks of this pandemic have gone on. Early on, that number was much lower. Yes, they can catch it. Yes, they can spread it. It is worth pointing out that of the 8,000 cases, there have only been 2 reported deaths of anyone with the coronavirus under 19. Only a total of 16 under 29 years of age and younger. Obviously, back to the college conversation, those college athletes would, for the most part, be away from any older people as they're staying at their university dorms and in their athletic facilities. So there's not much of a risk that they spread it to other people. And again, the 8,000 cases and 2 deaths, something that all parents need to know about.
So
yeah,
now
we can't
they're
take that
offering a
as
subscription to their coffee.
No, they can get it and they can spread it.
Yep.
We know that for sure.
We've got a lot of political.
Okay, ahead on what's new. The new federal unemployment money might not take effect until later this month. So we went to the experts to find financial help for those depending on that money right now.
And Metallica is working on filming a brand new concert where you'll be able to watch it. We also have a look at your forecast straight ahead.
And when I saw the pictures that she was sending me of what they were already doing on the ground, I just couldn't believe how different COVID looked.
Yeah, so just $20 will bring food and supplies to a family at high risk of catching the virus. And the coffee subscription, along with your donation, supports their line of work. Visit WKYC.com to find out where to donate.
Tips to Grow By is sponsored by Akron Children's Hospital.
I'm talking with Dr. Katrina Lindsay on kids and routines.
Routine has been pretty challenging the last few months, but we know children's behavior and mental health are best when there's predictability in play. With school right around the corner, we want to ease kids back into routine. Some flexibility is okay, but we probably want consistency around sleep and wake time, meal time, reading, and playing. You as a parent can also model the way of predictability in your routine.
The Medina County Fair, not always the same this year as it has been in previous years, of course, because of many of the changes we've seen surrounding COVID-19. Will Ewick has details of how it's still trying to keep it a special experience for some of the younger people who go.
It's different having to wear masks in the show ring and all during fair, and then also not seeing like little kids enjoying the animals all day. Strange to get used to.
Caitlin Clifford has been showing steers and goats at the Medina County Fair for 10 years. It's become an important part of her life.
I look forward to showing them every year and then just getting to like see the people each year because you don't see them all year round.
This year the fair has been scaled back to just a junior fair with no events at the grandstand, no rides, and no general public. It's bittersweet for Caitlin because although she's happy to have one last exhibition as a kid, there's a noticeable difference.
It made me sad. It's my last year along with a lot of other seniors, not having all the support in the show ring and then just walking around fair not seeing everyone.
On top of just being a junior fair, the fair board also made the event invitation only, allowing exhibitors along with just 10 friends and family members to attend. Masks are required inside buildings, hand sanitizing stations are peppered throughout the grounds. Some areas have one-way travel directions, and they've also had to make changes to the auctions.
We have a microphone even that's appointed for the judge that they don't share with anybody. You know, we're in the business to recognize that we're here to have a fair, if at all possible. We're also here to, again, to honor those.
It's Money Monday, and we're talking about that additional $600 in weekly unemployment benefits that expired last month. Well, there are some resources for anyone who's been counting on that money to make ends meet. 3 News consumer investigator Danielle Serena reports on where you can go for help.
That extra $600 really helped me because it filled the gap between what I used to make and all the money that we're losing from my husband's pay cut as well.
A pay cut for her husband, her job loss as a fitness instructor, and 3 children to support.
The jobs that are out there are not enough for me to actually pay somebody to care for my 3 kids and make anything after that.
It's scary, but take a breath. There are ways to cut expenses right now.
Tips to What we're talking about is really slashing and downsizing.
I'm talking with Dr. Katrina Lindsay
starting with saving on housing.
You have relatives. I've seen a lot of cohabitating, potentially getting roommates. If you can break a lease or if your lease is up, thinking of downsizing.
Next, while typically taboo, tap into your credit if you can.
You can ask for a credit extension. If your credit is decent, you might be able to open up another credit card. Again, this is only for emergency.
And if you're employed with a 401k, ask to take a loan against it instead of withdrawing, since penalties have been waived. Then there are little things like switching to a prepaid phone and canceling all auto payments you don't need, like Apple Pay. Once you get your budget in line, put aside your pride and ask for help.
Hi, thank you for calling United Way 211.
First step, United Way's call center.
These are our helping navigators that not only assist you with issues around rent, but also utilities, food assistance, transportation.
Next, a simple Google search will show you multiple state and federal programs like OhioBenefits.gov and Benefits.gov, which match you based on demographics, like if you're a vet or have a disability.
You answer one set of questions, you're available for 10 relief programs. You answer another set of questions, you're all of a sudden up to 20 or 30 programs.
NeedHelpPayingBills.com also lists free services, but includes charitable and community organizations.
These community action groups, again, might help you find childcare, food kitchens, and stuff like that. They go beyond the scope of what the federal government or your state government may provide.
Which in times of trouble is why these agencies are here.
I mean, at first, I was kind of embarrassed to even file for unemployment.
Danielle Serino.
But then you've been working for over 20 years and you've been paying into the system and you've never had to do it before.
3 News.
And on social media. Go to startsmartneo.org or call
Time to get a weather check. We go to Matt Wintz's house. And Matt, your weather word today kind of sums up the state of college football. You ready for this?
Back to those who really needed among the pandemic. 319 Coffee.
Good luck fitting that into a weather
check. Yeah. In Ohio City and uses free trade to get their coffee beans from Guatemala.
It doesn't describe our weather really, so I'll find a spot for it. You know, Jay, just before I got on air, literally, my cat just came, sat down like she was going to watch my forecast, and she's just staring at me. What are you staring at?
To the cause this
I feel a lot of pressure right now. I don't know what's happening.
You've got an audience, Matt.
Anyway, apparently, at least there's one person watching. All right, temperatures right now outside. Yeah, it was hot and humid this afternoon. We've still got some 90s on the big board, 92 Akron, 91 Canton. It is hot all across northeast Ohio. And that humidity hasn't been unbearable, but it's still pretty thick outside. And that humidity and the heat combined will give you the heat index, or what it feels like outside. We've got generally low, even some mid-90s as you get out towards Sandusky, Erie, and Huron counties, sitting in some of the thickest air right now. The bigger picture, though, you can see we've got clear skies across northeast Ohio, but just off to our west, look at this complex of storms. This is a doozy heading through Chicago. They've had back in Iowa wind gusts of 100 to 110 miles per hour with these thunderstorms. These are rolling our way very quickly. You can see the severe thunderstorm watch across the western half of our area. But our forecast, I know it's in limbo, but I'm telling you what, we are going to get it all sorted out here, because these storms are going to weaken as they head in, thankfully. The bigger picture showing the heat and humidity has to tap into, and it's all forming along the frontal boundary. But as this moves in, we've got more stable air in place, and also the steering currents are going to take these storms down to the south and the east. So hour by hour with your National Design Mart forecast, our computer models agree with me. You can see how some of that rain really breaks up overnight tonight. We could still get some rain out in it, still some gusty winds, best chance off towards the west, but overall we're going to be dealing with leftover clouds tomorrow morning. Because of that complex of storms, it's really going to tamper our thunderstorm chances tomorrow. I think we'll be lucky to even get a couple storms around here tomorrow, so most of us will end up dry. But the bigger picture beyond that, we have the heat over the course of the week, but next weekend we have some big weather changes around, and that comes in the form of some showers and storms on Saturday and Sunday. Look at the warm temps all week, but beyond Sunday, we get a cold front in here and some fall-like air in place. We'll detail that more in our next update. We'll be back with Clicking in Cleveland after the break.
This year, the fair has been scaled back to just a junior fair with no events at the grandstand, no rides, and no general public. It's bittersweet for Caitlin because although she's happy to have one last exhibition as a kid, there's a noticeable difference.
It made me sad. It's my last year along with a lot of other seniors, not having all the support in the show ring and then just walking around fair not seeing everyone.
On top of just being a junior fair, the fair board also made the event invitation only, allowing exhibitors along with just 10 friends and family members to attend. Masks are required inside buildings, hand sanitizing stations are peppered throughout the grounds.
Yes.
Some areas have one-way travel directions, and they've also had to make changes to the auctions.
We have a microphone, even that's appointed for the judge, that they don't share with anybody. You know, we're in the business to
just got myself a real severe
here to
tan.
have a fair, if at all possible. We're also here to, again, to honor
Stephanie Haney, your Oompa Loompa and digital anchor.
The board also decided to postpone the marking in celebration of the fair's 175th anniversary until next year, where they're hoping the fair looks a little more like the one that those here in Medina County have come to know and love.
Right in my front yard, actually.
Looking forward to next year. We hope we're out from under this COVID-19 umbrella. So we're gonna celebrate our 175th. We may call it the 175th plus.
In Medina, Will Ewick.
I hope it goes as normal next year for everyone.
3 News.
Bodies are intricate machines. At Summa Health, we are experts at diagnosing and treating every moving part. Whether it's complex spinal surgery performed by a fellowship-trained specialist, non-surgical options that use advanced technology, or minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster, Summa Health has the most comprehensive orthopedic institute in Greater Akron. Extraordinary care is right in your backyard. Summa Health, vital for orthopedic care.
It would be naive to say that you don't give thought and consideration to what the financial ramifications of any decision are, but this was a health and well-being decision first and foremost. As we sit here today, we don't know what this will mean financially. It will depend how the rest of the fall plays out. It will depend upon if we're able to do some things in the spring.
Now, important to note here, today's decision only impacts.
It is time right now to see what is cooking in Cleveland, and you know the drill by now. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, a very good Monday to you, and good news for Indians fans.
That's right, Jay. Happy Monday to you and for everyone who loves Cleveland baseball, because manager Terry Francona is getting back to work. He will be back there on Tuesday. Now, he's been out for more than a week dealing with a gastrointestinal issue that's been bothering him since spring. He's had to miss 8 games in this shortened season. That includes skipping the team's trip to Chicago over the weekend. But he will be there when the Cubs come to Progressive Field tomorrow to finish out this series. Now, Metallica is working on bringing something here to Northeast Ohio. They're working on a new concert, pre-recorded, that we'll be able to see at our drive-ins here in Northeast Ohio. Metallica will be the first rock band featured in the Encore Drive-In Nights concert series. This is their first show in almost a year, and the show will play on August 29th at 6 drive-in theaters in Northeast Ohio, which are listed on WKYC.com. General admission ticket sales open up on Friday, and your ticket gets you 1 car with up to 6 people in, and 4 downloads of Metallica's S&M 2. That's the live film from their most recent show last year with the San Francisco Symphony. And I learned something new today. August 10th is National Lazy Day, so we asked you all to let us know what you are doing or not doing to celebrate. This first photo comes from Aubrey Arnett. This is her sleepy little girl. She says she's got the right idea. I think so. She looks pretty peaceful there. And here's Jennifer Lynn while cuddling with her pup. She says, "You don't have to tell us twice to celebrate National Lazy Day." Keep sharing those photos and videos with us on the WKYC app in that near me future. Jay, National Lazy Day has an official exercise. Do you have any guess what it is?
Napping.
Yeah, so just $20 will bring food and supplies to a family at high risk of catching the virus.
It is diddly squats, and I couldn't love that pun more. It is so good.
That is pretty good. Diddly squats. I like that. It fits with the theme. By the way, quickly, would you go to a drive-in movie theater for a rock concert?
Oh, I would for sure. Okay. Yeah, I was a little surprised that it was pre-recorded. I thought maybe Metallica would be there at the drive-in, but I think it's cool that it's pre-recorded.
Yeah, one way or another, it's our way of getting live music. Stephanie, thanks. We'll see you soon. Still ahead on what's new. The chance of college fall sports actually happening is getting slimmer and slimmer, as we told you at the top of our show. We're going to tell you where the conferences stand and also where politicians stand on this super controversial issue. Also ahead on the show, Duke University released a new study about masks, which ones got the best ratings and which ones actually did more harm than good. You'll want to catch that. Then our show always loves to show you something good, and our segment today is a tearjerker. We're going to tell you Grayson's story. It's one you'll want to see when What's New continues.
Experience for some of the younger people who go.
It's different having to wear masks in the show ring and all during fair. And then also not seeing like little kids enjoying the animals all day. Strange to get used to.
Caitlin Clifford has been showing steers and goats at the Medina County Fair for 10 years. It's become an important part of her life.
I look forward to showing them every year and then just getting to like see the people each year because you don't see them all year round.
This year the fair has been scaled back to just a junior fair with no events at the grandstand, no rides, and no general public. It's bittersweet for Caitlin because although she's happy to have one last exhibition as a kid, there's a noticeable difference.
It made me sad. It's my last year along with a lot of other seniors, not having all the support in the show ring and then just walking around fair not seeing everyone.
On top of just being a junior fair, the fair board also made the event invitation only, allowing exhibitors along with just 10 friends and family members to attend. Masks are required inside buildings, hand sanitizing stations are peppered throughout the grounds. Some areas have one-way travel directions, and they've also had to make changes to the auctions.
We have a microphone even that's appointed for the judge that they don't share with anybody. You know, we're in the business to recognize that we're here to have a fair, if at all possible. We're also here to, again, to honor the youth's hard work.
The board also decided to postpone the marking in celebration of the fair's 175th anniversary until next year, where they're hoping the fair looks a little more like the one that those here in Medina County have come to know and love over its long tradition.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Sorry. I don't know. I asked them different headlines.
So we're going to celebrate our 175th. We may call it the 175th plus.
In Medina, Will Ewan.
I hope it goes as normal next year for everyone.
3 News.
As we all work to rebuild Northeast Ohio's economy, Team NEO and its partners can help your company navigate the next normal. We can connect your business with financial tools and talent and supply chain needs. We can help you adopt technology faster and find the best land sites and buildings. And we offer expert insight into regional, national, and global economic data. Join the hundreds of Northeast Ohio companies that have engaged with us to chart their path forward. What can Team NEO and our network do to help your business? Engage with us to find out.
It would be naive to say that.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New on this beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm Jay Crawford alongside Romney Smith, who's in for Betsy today. By the way, Betsy will be back from her vacation tomorrow, for those of you wondering. Romney, I know your weekend is a little offset. You actually work on the weekend, but did you have an enjoyable Saturday and Sunday?
I did. I actually did a virtual conference. Everything's changing because of the pandemic, and I usually go to conferences in person like many of us, and so this time about 3,500 people were just logging on and looking at seminars, some pre-recorded, some live. It was very different, but I did enjoy it. Thank you for
Very good. I'm glad to see that in the absence of us being able to be someplace physically, we've at least, it's not the same, but we've come up with an alternative that tends to work.
So the technology is quite impressive to be able to host that many people in one conference virtually.
You don't have to put your future on
and what
hold.
seemed bizarre 4 months ago now
seems
seems normal.
Staying safe and saving money.
Our top talker is something a lot of sports fans had hoped would not happen. A report from the Detroit Free Press states that the Big Ten has voted to cancel its fall sports season, although we need to point out there is another report that says there is an official meeting planned for 6 o'clock tonight and that nothing has officially happened yet. If that report proves to be true, though, that will likely mean no Ohio State football, at least not how we know it in the Big Ten. There is a chance that they may switch down to the Southeastern Conference along with other schools that want to play football this season, but all that is still very much up in the air, and the official announcement is expected to come sometime tomorrow. But here's what we know right now. According to this report, which has in some form been shot down by other reports, the president reportedly voted 12-2 to cancel the season. It wasn't Ohio State and Penn State or Ohio State and Michigan that voted to play. According to this report, it was Iowa and Nebraska. They were the only two that voted to move forward with the season. So now all eyes move to the other 4 Power 5 conferences. ESPN reported yesterday that the Power 5 commissioners held an emergency meeting and that postponing or canceling the season seems, quote, inevitable. Also over the weekend, the Mid-American Conference went ahead and canceled its season, postponing not just football baseball, but all fall sports until the spring when they say they will try it again. The decision from the Big Ten is getting a ton of reaction online, and we want to bring back our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, who's been tracking as much of this as she possibly can. But boy, it's hard to track down just the reports and the reaction because it's all over the spectrum. But Stephanie, what are you finding out there online?
Jay, there's a lot of conversation about the risks associated with having a football season and also what's at stake for the players. Of course, we saw that President Donald Trump tweeted that he wants to see a season. There's also a U.S. Senator weighing in on this. Sports Illustrated got a hold of a letter from Senator Ben Sasse to the Big Ten, and in it he says that we should not cancel the college football season. Life is about trade-offs, he says, and argues that having football is safer for these students because of the structure. He says the Big Ten knows that, but also knows they can avoid blame for COVID-19 outbreaks if they cancel the season. Football fans are split on the issue. WKYC viewer Fred Colucci said it's a smart move to cancel, that football is only a sport and COVID-19 is very real and deadly. While viewer Brad Powell, obviously an Ohio State fan from his photo, thinks whether to play should be up to the players and coaches because they're the ones putting themselves at risk here. Now, a lot of players want to play. The official Twitter account for Ohio State football was retweeting their posts saying so, and the first pick in the 2020 NFL draft weighed in as well. New Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, he says he hopes the players' voices are heard by decision makers because if this had happened a year ago, he may be looking for a job right now. Now, of course, Burrow makes a valid point because his final college season was crucial to him becoming the #1 NFL draft pick. But Jay, a lot of people are saying with professional athletes not able to follow the COVID-19 safety protocols that it would be virtually impossible to get the college students to do that.
Yeah, it would be tough. You just know it would. These are young college kids. I'm wondering, Stephanie, from a legal standpoint, and for those of you that don't know, Stephanie is a lawyer and she handles all of our legal dilemmas here at What's New. In the case of the MLB and NBA and NFL, they all have players' unions and they can collectively bargain some sort of return to the field or court program. With college football, these athletes have absolutely nobody backing them. Is it possible that they can just do what the NFL did? You can opt in and you can sign a waiver saying that you release they release the universities and NCAA from any responsibility should they get the virus and get deathly sick? Is there any way that they can do that? Have players opt in or opt out and move from there?
Next year, we hope we're out from under this COVID-19
Well, that's an interesting question, Jay, and the thing about that is these players don't exist in a vacuum. They're also going to classes with other students. So it's not just their health that's of concern and not just the people that they come in contact with that's of concern. So I think it would be very unlikely that we see an individual waiver from players in those situations if they're having in-person classes with the students. Now, if it's all virtual, that's another conversation, and that is something we might have to take a look at.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I don't think this story is over. We're going to have to follow every turn moving forward. Stephanie, thanks. Great information. We appreciate it. Right now it is 5 minutes past 5:30. Time to bring in Laura Queso. She's been tracking other stories, making headlines at this hour. Good Monday to you, Laura.
To you as well, Jay. Let's get to McDonald's first. It is suing its former CEO, saying he lied and destroyed information during an investigation into inappropriate behavior. McDonald's says Steve Easterbrook had sexual relationships with 3 employees and conspired to keep pictures and videos of those relationships a secret. The company also says Easterbrook approved a large stock grant to one of the women after a sexual encounter. They want him to either pay damages or give back some of the compensation he was paid when he was forced out in November. At least one person is dead after a massive gasline explosion.
Now,
this is at a row home in Baltimore. 6 people were hurt. Crews plan to search through the rubble all night long in case there are any other survivors. It's not clear what caused the explosion. Amazon is in talks with mall owner Simon Property Group about turning empty department store space into Amazon fulfillment centers. Amazon says putting more centers near residential areas will speed up delivery time. Simon would get a steady tenant to help fill up mall space. The talks have been going on since before the pandemic and focus on former JCPenney and Sears locations. And that could be good for all those people who are constantly clicking to get some Amazon purchases. That includes myself.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We've already seen malls here in Northeast Ohio converted into conversion centers too. I think you're going to see a lot of mall space over the next 10 years converted from retail to Amazon fulfillment centers. Laura, thanks. We'll see you in 23 minutes.
Back at 9:10, and there's a coffee shop in Northeast Ohio that wants your help to give back to those who really need it amongst
as we
the
know,
pandemic.
research shows that masks help slow the spread of COVID-19.
And Ohio City and uses free trade to get their coffee beans from Guatemala, but they've learned their growers in rural parts of the country are struggling to put food on the table, and protection from COVID-19 is not available.
The most effective are
N95 N95
masks, 3-layer surgical masks, and cotton masks. Now, runners, a lot of you like those neck fleece masks, you know, they kind of hang loosely. They're also known as gator masks. Well, we have some disappointing news. The study shows that those are actually the least effective masks, even though they're popular. And also, folded bandanas and knitted masks, they don't give much protection either. So, Jay, I know those gator masks, I think I see a lot more men wearing them compared to women.
I do too, yeah.
And, you know, it's just best to go with a cloth mask if possible, because even though it's not the most fashionable, it is safer than just a bandana.
Yeah, so just $20 will bring food and supplies to a family at high risk of catching the virus.
Choice.
And the coffee subscription, along with the donation, supports
are sometimes tough to get. I read a story online, and I want us to look into this for a story later this week. There is a new phenomenon that dentists are finding, and they're calling it mouth mask. And they're finding that they've seen an increase of almost 50% of gum disease and cavities from breathing in your own exhaust, essentially.
I haven't heard that, so I'd be interested to see if that's a real thing.
I read the article and I was fascinated, and dentists have termed this new thing mouth mask, and I want to pitch a story for this week. Talk to dentists and find out if they are seeing the same thing as well. But it's
get to the bottom of it and let me know.
It's alarming. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have that story later this week. Well, we love to share happy stories, and today's Show Us Something Good is going to put a big smile on your face. It did mine. Grayson is a 9-year-old from North Carolina. He was born with several medical conditions and lost his ability to walk a couple of years back. But over the weekend, his mom posted this video. Take a look. Walking from her arms into the arms of his best friend. Romney, all I can say to that is it's getting dusty in here.
So sweet. I can't get enough of those videos.
I can't either. I can't either. And I love stories of accomplishment, stories when kids that have been told they're never going to do something, they put their mind to it, they focus, and they accomplish it. It makes me smile.
Kids don't take no for an answer. You can tell them you'll never walk. They don't believe you, and I love it. All right, thanks, Jay. Or we want you to show us something good. Submit videos, pictures on our app. And also coming up, we're talking sports. Indians player broke the rules and was sent home. We'll break down what we know about Zach Plassak's actions in Chicago. And Matt, what's going on outside?
On top of just being a junior fair, the fair board also made the event invitation only,
we've got your
allowing
humidity around.
exhibitors
I know
along
you're
with
a
just
happy
10 friends
lady,
and
but
family
things
members
are going to start to change, as always, here as we go over the next 7 days. In fact, as we look beyond that, I see another fall-like air mass coming. We'll detail when that hits coming up.
Cool. Thank you. All right.
Welcome back to What's News. Indians pitcher Zach Plesac is in some hot water with the Indians and Major League Baseball. Plesac violated team rules on Saturday night while the team was in Chicago to play the White Sox. 25-year-old went out after the game with some friends after he pitched marvelously. And yesterday, the Indians hired a car service and sent Plesac back to Cleveland. No word on any punishment from the Indians or Major League Baseball. Indians team president Chris Antonetti addressed the media about the situation late last night.
Our focus was ensuring the health and safety of all of our teammates and staff and players, and that necessitated Zach being separate from the team. At this point, we'll take a little bit of time and then assess what the appropriate next steps may be.
This is tough, Romney, because what teams are trying to do as much as they can is limit player exposure to anyone outside of their circle. And we've seen what happens. The Florida Marlins already had an outbreak. The St. Louis Cardinals had 7 players test positive.
And a ripple effect. It just keeps going.
Sure.
I wish the players fought so hard to even have a season. We know it's condensed. And now I'm like, guys, we pay y'all a lot of money. Follow the rules so that the fans can enjoy.
They found out, Romney, that there was several reports that the Cardinals players had gone to a casino, which
they need a team mom to say, sit your butt down.
Each
so that
team
we
does.
can all enjoy. It's really not that hard. But
no, and Plesac's a young guy. He's 25 years old. I know he wants to go out and have a good time, but it's not a good look. And with cell phones and social media, people are going to see you. People are going to take your picture, and it's not going to be a secret for very long. And we'll wait and see.
Have a team PlayStation. Have some gaming or something in their team hotel. It's not that hard to me, but it's hard for these guys. But as a fan, I want a season. They need to stop this. All right, we could go on and on, Jay. But I'm going to toss to Matt right now. And Matt was joking with me earlier, saying I was enjoying the humidity. And you know what? You are right. I love the humidity, and I want it to stay.
I know you do, Romney, and I'm going to keep it around just for you this week, but I know Jay complains in the background all the time about the weather, so we've got a little something for him as well.
Okay.
I like to keep everyone happy around here as if I'm in control of that, which is furthest thing from the truth. But we'll try to predict what's going to happen over the next 7 days here as we look at your forecast. So it is hot, it is humid. This is Romney-like weather here this afternoon. We've got temperatures that are now peaking in Akron, 93, 92 Akron, Canton down towards areas of Stark County, Tuscarawas counties. You're hot as well, but the humidity really peaks up towards Ashtabula County, and we've got the most humid conditions in the western half of the viewing area out towards Sandusky as well. Some drier air mixing in the I-77 corridor. So when you put those two numbers together, everyone's hot. We're all in the low 90s this afternoon, so make sure you're taking those precautions as you're heading on out. We are clear. We've got a beautiful evening shaping up, but look at this off towards the west. We highlighted this earlier. This is a powerful line of storms, folks. 80 to 100 mile per hour winds with some of these storms still ongoing across areas of Indiana. This is going to race through Indiana as we go over the next couple hours. It will approach western Ohio. It'll start to lose some steam, but I still think this thing's a little bit stronger than the models are giving it credit for. So we may end up with some gusty winds and some leftover storms in the western half of our viewing area. This will be later tonight, like 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But you can see the warnings that they have right now in orange. This is all due to a frontal boundary, which is sagging south into this warm, humid atmosphere that we have. So it's not just us dealing with the heat and humidity. It's pretty much the entire eastern half of the country. But that cool front's going to try to sag south over the next 24 hours and bring some temporary relief. So your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast, you can see this takes that line of storms and kind of dissipates it as it moves into the Sandusky area. We'll see if that holds true or if it holds together a little bit better than that. But bottom line, we do have more stable air in place. So as that progresses through the area later on tonight, it'll definitely weaken out. That's the good news. So tomorrow morning, what we're left with are some clouds, still a muggy feel to the atmosphere. I think that boundary that gets laid from that area of storms will be a trigger for more storms tomorrow. It'll likely be south of here, so I'm not really impressed with our storm chances tomorrow afternoon. We'll keep them in the forecast, but I don't think it'll be anything widespread. Temperatures back up into the 80s, and then the whole entire boundary settles south on Wednesday, and that will bring in a pretty refreshing day on Wednesday with temperatures in the low 80s and lower humidity. The bigger picture over the next 10 days looks like this. We stay in the heat over the course of the week, but by the weekend into next week, there you go, some air out of Canada again. So all those heat lovers, well, you've got your week ahead of you, as you can see in your Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. But for all those cooler weather lovers, you've got something coming for you after the weekend. So Romney, as I promised, a little bit of something for everybody in the forecast.
That's still a good forecast. Everyone wants something. Thanks, Matt. Coming up, Will Smith has fans thinking that Jason Derulo knocked his teeth out. We have all the details about this video in Pop Break. Jay?
And these Gen Z twins are getting a lot of views on YouTube. Their incredible reaction to a classic song. It is ahead in our Worth the Watch video. I think the guy on the left doesn't like it. Welcome back to What's New. It's time to revisit our question of the day. Candy makers told the Wall Street Journal that they plan to make less candy this year because of the pandemic. Makes sense. We asked you if you plan to let your child go trick-or-treating, and most of you are saying, no, you are not. 69% of you are not going to let the kiddies participate in trick-or-treat this year. And Romney and I, we talked about it a little while ago. I'm surprised, actually, that number isn't higher, Romney.
Here's the thing. Buy some candy and hide it around the house.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's what I would do. Keep them at home, and they still get candy. It's a win-win.
Win-win for all of them.
There you go. All right, so Will Smith and Jason Derulo, I don't know if you've seen this, Jay, but It has everyone talking. So you got to see this video. It's crazy. Plus, Chris Pratt and his wife, Katherine Schwarzenegger, welcomed their new baby into the world. I have all the tea in today's Pop Break.
Will Smith and Jason Derulo are hopefully pranking the world in a new viral TikTok that has everyone doing a double take.
Don't swing yet. Oh, God! You can put some ice on that.
In the video, Will is pretending to give Jason a golf lesson that ends terribly. But luckily, most of the internet is convinced that it's a joke. We hope so too, otherwise Will's just gonna have to grin and bear it. Chris Pratt is a dad again. The Guardians of the Galaxy star welcomed a baby girl with wife and author Katherine Schwarzenegger over the weekend. The couple announced the birth Monday morning on social media with an adorable picture and captions about their family's new addition named Lila Maria Schwarzenegger Pratt. Katherine, a first-time mom, wrote that they couldn't feel happier or more blessed. Congrats. And fans didn't waste any time putting their Photoshop and video editing skills to use with the new Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion music video, WAP. Oscar winner Viola Davis even shared the hilarious content on social media with herself edited into the video with a clip of her How to Get Away with Murder character dancing in her home and office, which I, of course, had to respond to on Twitter. Hilarious. Annalise Keating wasn't the only one getting in on the fun. One fan took Michael Scott from The Office and gave him his own moment to shine. You go, Anna Mae and Michael.
I've had that song in my head since it came out. I won't sing it because it's inappropriate, but you know what?
Please don't sing
it.
The
memes are hilarious. When I saw Viola's, I literally hollered because if you know the show, she's so serious.
Yeah.
And she's such an amazing actress. So to see her make fun of herself and insert herself into that video, classic. I loved it.
Pretty funny. I want to go back to Will Smith and what a prank. I mean, first of all, I guarantee you he doesn't have chipped teeth.
No.
But they pull it off. It's a great piece of acting. It shouldn't surprise us because Will can act in anything.
I guessed though when I first saw it, but then I thought, wait, where's the blood? There's no blood.
No blood at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty well done though, I have to say.
Absolutely.
All right, these two young adults recorded themselves listening to a classic song for the first time. Their reaction is getting a lot of attention online. We're going to reveal that in our Worth the Watch. It is coming up next.
Hey there, how are you? Testing 1, 2, 3. Good evening, I'm Russ Mitchell.
Hello, I'm Laura Acacia. We begin tonight with that vote and the uncertainty around what it means going forward.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, you know, you might be wondering, when does this all go into effect? That is the big question. It's still unclear.
Okay, welcome back. Some twin brothers are the stars of our Worth the Watch segment today, and it is so good, Jay. Generation Z twins, Tim and Fred Williams, recorded themselves listening to Phil Collins' song In the Air Tonight for the very first time. We know that song, but their reaction has more than 1 million views on YouTube. Jay, the best part of the reaction comes about 3 minutes into the song. Take a look. Fire, they're feeling it. They absolutely love it. Fred said he will be downloading this song to his phone, and I love it when the beat drops, because they're like, what? Y'all had good music back then?
Yeah.
Yes,
good
young
music,
man.
Great
yes.
music back then. You know, the best part of all of this is that's the song that the Browns play every pregame before their football games, and Baker, at the point of the drum solo, goes nuts,
so
just
good.
imitating like he's pounding the drums in the stadium,
Great
goes
stuff.
crazy. It's one of my favorite parts of game day. Hope we get to experience that this year. That's it. We're out of time. Please join us tomorrow at 5 for another edition of What's New.